Good evening, everyone. Whoa.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening.
Hey there, how you doing, guys?
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. I see everybody coming up. All right, let's call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. Stand by. I hear somebody with a loud TV. Hold on.
Hi, everybody.
Oh,
Hello, Mariana.
Sorry about that. I could hear the broadcasting monitor going off really loud. So let's call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. The time is 6:01 p.m. Establishment of a quorum. Got Commissioner Butler, Commissioner Avalos, Commissioner Barnes, you're here, right?
Here,
Commissioner Diaz, are you here? Yes, you are. And I believe Commissioner Santana just joined in.
Hello.
How you doing?
Very well.
Item number 3, public comment must notify the board to speak on certain agenda items. 5 minutes, to be allowed 5 minutes. Public can comment by calling 915-213-3008. That's 915-213-3008. The PIN code for this call is 742-820-537 #. That's 742-820-537 #. Commissioners, we have the representatives from Chase Bank. Would you like to move them up to the front of the line?
Certainly.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to move.
second.
Second by Barnes. Okay. Carrie, who would like to speak on this item or on the presentation?
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you. I can't see who all is on the all the participants on. So if you don't mind me asking, if do you see a Nate Farkas on the list?
I see.
I'm here, Carrie.
Okay, good, Nate. Okay, and Marguerite Williams.
Yes, I'm here, Carrie.
Okay, good. Um, Hi, good evening. My name is Kerry Gilliam, and I'm relationship manager here in Austin, Texas for the ESD accounts with Chase. And the chief and I have been speaking for the last couple of months about the current card program that you have with us, which is the Ink Card program, and some of the issues with it that have not been meeting maybe the needs that he had been talking about. So I've asked my card specialist to join the call today. Nate Farkas is his name, and he's going to talk a little bit about the program that we offer. I did provide a document earlier today to the chief. I don't know if he's had a chance to get that to everyone as a white paper on the commercial card programs, some of the benefits and what some of the issues are that people use them for to address from, a P card, a travel and entertainment, and then a purchasing card, or rather a accounts payable solution. So one or of those, program features can be utilized with one under one main program. We call that the One Card program. I did ask Marguerite Williams to join the call. She is the state manager for our group. She is out of Houston. And Marguerite, would you want to say a few words maybe?
Thank you, Carrie. I would just like to say hello and good evening to everyone. And we appreciate serving you as your bank and this opportunity to present this option for you. And thanks again for that. And I will turn it back over to Carrie.
Thank you, Marguerite. And I really would just turn it over to Nate so he can kind of talk about our program. But I wanted to just leave it open for questions and any types of features that you may want to ask us about, and we can address those as it comes up. But Nate, do you want to talk about our program a little bit?
Absolutely. And is everybody able to hear me? I always want to double check before I start talking.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, again, great to get to speak with y'all, and good evening to you. This is Nate Farkas in the government space here at the Business Bank in our branded payables group, representing card products that are available again to our government partners. And from our initial conversations, a goal of your organization was to be able to look at a consolidated view of the card program, yet still be able to segment out hierarchies and controls to prevent any disruption out in the field. Obviously, we don't want anybody to have any declines or have to make a whole lot of phone calls in order to be able to utilize a card program, yet to make it a little cleaner from a centralized perspective, but also then aggregate all of the spend from the different areas to help them provide one rewards or rebate structure. And we do have within our commercial card program the ability to do that, meaning we can create a headquarter login or a higher level login that is able to see and help with controls, but then also disperse for regional login and be able to control card usage as needed for any events, travel, regular purchases, and then be able to see all of that within one login that is able to be exported for financial software and even potentially directly populated into financial software. And we do this at no expense for government clients. And any of the rewards is a cash rebate structure. And when that's provided, it's a wire deposit. So it is an audit traceable event. So a very good setup to help with workflow, transactional efficiency, but also audit flow, and at a good price point, meaning it's intended to have no expense for the organization. Based on some of what I just shared, any questions that I could help in facilitating, any discussion around what an agreement may look like to make sure that we've answered any questions?
No, sir.
Carrie, would you like to go over that document you sent over?
Well, the document I sent over really is more of a general white paper to kind of discuss what a commercial card program can do. We really hadn't intended to go, page by page on it, more to kind of review at your leisure. I wanted to more address maybe some of the needs, Chief, that you had talked about wanting to look at this program, specifically the consolidated billing. I think was one of the features that we talked about that you felt would be very helpful, is to have all the cards under one statement, accessible under one login under profile, and that would streamline your review each month. You wouldn't have to worry about getting all the, I believe it's 7 different programs, individually. All the cards would report up under one login. You can see all consolidated, and it would be easier for you to then reconcile. And Nate, I don't know if you want to talk a bit about the PaymentNet platform and what the features that can do to kind of assist the chief and his staff in administering the program.
Absolutely. The PaymentNet card management tool or the card management platform as a whole is JP Morgan owned and maintained, so 24/7 support for your administrators. And you're able to, in real time, manage the card program from either ordering cards or adjusting limits, adjusting where the cards can be used, but also even if the cards are active or not. So for maybe a card that is not used as frequently, it stays in a suspended state. And if somebody were to need it for expenditures, then it could be activated or unsuspended and even preset so that it would turn itself back off in 24 hours or 3 days. That way you don't have to set a calendar reminder for when somebody's back from their trip to adjust that. But if a trip gets extended or they need more time with the card, you can change that in real time. So even if somebody gets a decline in a store and you need to adjust a function, it would be real time and they'd be able to rerun the transaction. An example is that maybe you turned off the ability for cards to be used at a location that's deemed to be a bar, but somebody goes to have lunch and gets a decline. You could reactivate that merchant type in real time so that they could pay for the meal on one of the cards before they needed to leave. And then they'd bring the receipt back to you and you'd verify, what the purchases were to make sure it was in line with your cardholder policy. And all transactions flow through that PaymentNet tool so that you can review them as soon as they post. So that example of the restaurant or bar on Monday, the transaction runs, it's generally in PaymentNet about Wednesday for you to review, and you can action on that. So you could put notes to it, upload a receipt, you could attach chart of accounts. You can do some various functions with that from the AP perspective or accounting perspective, and that could all be exported for a software usage. We export in multiple file formats, and that's provided with unlimited logins, meaning you control who needs to get in and what functionality they have, and that PaymentNet is provided at no expense to your organization.
Give me 1 minute. I believe Commissioner Avalos has a question.
Sure.
Chief, so just so we're I'm understanding this is good. This is part of our consolidation program, so that each department gets issued one card, and we collect the individual cards that are floating around at the volunteer stations. That's my first question. Is that correct? That's what this program is intended to do?
This is a similar program as to what we're already using. One of the things that Mr. Kerry Gilliam was saying is that with this one, we have a more of a control setting that what our auditors have been anticipating that we need. So we can set we can set the controls and kind of let it go in an autopilot. And if, correct me if I'm wrong, Kerry, but if there is something deemed that it was necessary, it'll trigger a notification that we can allow it or deny it based on what they're trying to do. You know what I mean? Instead of just saying no, if they're out of town or whatever the case may be, and there's a place that's deemed not authorized, but then when they call us and verify, hey, this is where we're at, we're trying to get this done, and we deem that it's okay to do it, we can authorize it right there and then, and they have the potential to buy it. You know what I mean? Rather than say no all the time.
No, I understand that, and I like the features that are being shown to us. I like the aspect. But is this the card that we're going to assign? Because we had talked about before, right, that each fire station would now have one card and it would become one statement so that we could control that better. Is this that card, or is this going to be another card? That's what I want to make sure.
No, we're gonna, if we were to transfer to this type of card, not only would we pick up the other card, this is the new card that would be issued to them. And this would be the district actual used card for all purchases, whatever it is that they need, but there's already parameters set, and there's ways for us to monitor the expenditures without having to encompass them. Because I also get it, the chiefs talk to me of what they're going through right now, but there's no actual way for us to control it right now. But with this one, we can say, yes, you can do this and authorize certain expenditures right now. But if it gets to the point where they show up to a place that's not authorized, should trigger a notification to someone to approve or deny. Am I correct, Kerry?
Yeah, there's what's called a program administrator, and so the person that's using the card, and the way it kind of works is you can through what's called merchant codes, you can limit where a card can be used based on the merchant type. Home Depot, for example, Walmart, they're grouped in certain merchant categories. So you can limit cards that can only be used as certain types, and those codes can be changed by the program administrator that in real time. And there's also some other controls we can talk about as far as limiting how much a card can be used, per transaction, per day, over a month's time. So you can put various restrictions on the card, and then each time, though, if for an emergency comes up or there's some other reason that you need to change that card's capabilities, the program administrator would have the ability to go in, and you can have multiple program administrators, but the program administrators would have the ability to go in real time, change or up a limit, change a merchant code so that they could then complete that purchase while they're in the store. And then you could go back in and lower that limit again, change the merchant code categories again. So it's a very robust system of check and balance, and it's very useful. And I think the auditors would be happy with that capability. It does have some of the other things that we have seen with other ESD. Occasionally you have to get they have to go into other areas when it's a fire emergency of some type, a natural disaster. There's a way you can assign a card that they can use for just those types of situations. So maybe on that, something like that, you might want to, have fewer controls because it is an emergency. You don't know what they're going to run into. They may have to use it, rent hotel rooms, buy gas, whatever it may be. And so, but that would be controlled by the program administrator, who could then activate that card or then deactivate it if it's not needed. So those are some of the features. And Nate, if I misstated something, please correct me. But that's those are some of the features, some of the fraud control features that are available through the PaymentNet platform.
And Carrie, this is Nate, you are absolutely correct in all the feature and functionalities. It is driven by merchant category, not specifically an individual actual branded merchant. Absolutely correct. The notifications, if something is outside of parameters, would be a decline at the point of sale. And there are compliance monitoring steps that you can set up where you can see things on your dashboard that show you something was out of compliance. But per se, that example where you had bars turned off and somebody was actually wanting to eat at a sports bar and got a decline, you could swing that card, move that card within PaymentNet to make it capable to make that purchase there. And they would be able to reach out, like Carrie had said, to an administrator. If they did call the number on the back of the card, it is 24/7 customer service, but anything that you have as a control, Chase won't undo. So if somebody calls and says, I need to make a payment to the bar and it's turned off, we'll direct them to you as well. So a few other checks and balances in place. And to one of the prior questions, if it's desired, it is up to your ultimate organization. We can segment this program out exactly as needed. So you could have a grouping of cards or just one single card that has its own statement, but there still is that one central view where an administrator can see all transactions and pull one set of reporting. And then you could set up a local or regional administrator to view just the transactions for their location. And then all card holders or anyone associated with a card. So if you did just name a card, location 1, location 2, you can do that. You don't have to put names. But for, again, a location 1, you could assign someone to still manage that by way of their email address and phone number. They're able to log in to PaymentNet and see their own transactions. But you could also decide that maybe they see a group of other transactions in the same location. So a lot of abilities for controls and building out of the program in the exact hierarchy you need without losing some central control. But also, we support all of that. And again, that 24/7 administrator support with Chase employees accessible, and we'll help build that out. So as a part of the process, if an agreement, if you were to move forward with an agreement and participate in the program, we provide as much as you want or as little as you need. of web-based interactive setup support directly with our PaymentNet team. So if you do decide that you just want one statement for all cards now, and then maybe build it out in a month that you want multiple statements for different cards at different locations, we'd be there to help out. And we don't charge programming hours, we don't charge training hours. And again, you do have unlimited, if you need, again, not required, but unlimited login support, meaning you can have as many local administrators or card holders that can log into the tool. So sorry to go a bit long there, but I did want to support what Carrie had shared and then make sure we had provided some of the additional features.
No, thank you for the information. I mean, everything with regards to what you all are presenting, it sounds great. I just wanted to be sure that on our end, that the volunteer stations are getting one card and this isn't in addition to another, because we had agreed moving forward that each station would have one. That way we could consolidate it and it would be easier for you guys to work with. Correct, Chief? So this is the one that you're going to issue to each station. There's not going to be multiple cards issued.
No. Everyone, to include ourselves here at the district office, will only have one.
Okay.
And it will be one because that's why we consolidated.
Right.
So one of the other things that I liked about this card is compared to the other one, this one also offers protection, correct, Carrie? If there is some type of fraud or some type of authorized purchase, there is some protection for them. Now, we even discussed the fact that even if we got a card issued to every volunteer, but those could be turned off until such time that they travel. You know what I mean? That way we put the trust on them when they're going out of town, and we don't have to worry about booking their hotels. We can book their hotels and they're authorized to go charge that and only that, okay? Because we can set the limits, and that way we don't have to worry about that many transactions on all our cards to go for that and hold them accountable for turning in the receipt. Because one of the other things that's also available through this card is that they can take a picture of it and upload it to our account. That way we hold the receipt all the time. So it's got a little, some new benefits to it. This is just for us to look at, discuss, and kind of think about which way we want to go for you all as a board. And if you like it, we can get more information and bring in Chase to talk to us more about this. But this is a new option that was available to us once we merged everybody into one. Am I correct, Kerry?
That's
do this
correct.
Before.
Yeah, that's correct. When we first started talking, you had 7, 8 different program in-card statements you were getting, and different limits, different for each co-holder. And this was, we did merge all that into one. That's called the Ink card. We merged all that under one Ink program under the ESD. But when we start talking about some of the features and some of the reporting and the controls, that's what led into this discussion, because this program, the one card program, has the controls and the features that the chief really was we were talking about. These thought sounded very good, and be more than happy to talk some more about that. But that was really the impetus for this discussion.
Chief, so right now we've already consolidated all of the stations and the ESD's credit card billings under one statement. So that's already been done.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I know that we talked about this back when we were talking to the auditors, but have we put together a credit card purchasing policy yet?
No, we're still looking at all these as they're going through. I did talk to, as a matter of fact, I just had a talk with our auditor yesterday about some other questions for purchasing on credit cards. So we're outlining everything that needs to be in there, because it's much that we're going to encompass. But this will allow us to put all those in place and put the parameters for everybody so that we don't exceed this. And this will be a lot, I think, easier and better than just to create a policy, because we won't be able to create a policy and then just have a credit card that anybody can go buy anything with, like we can now. There's no limitations on the ones we have now, but on this one, limitations could be set up for it, if it makes sense.
So basically, you're going to build the policy around the program.
Around the program.
Okay. So do the stations still have discretionary funding items like we consolidated the budgets, but they still have, a certain amount that they can spend on food or office supplies or other kinds of things, right?
Everyone still has their separate budget.
Right.
They have a
Everything-
separate.
So there was two things that the auditor talked about. One was the actual where everything was going to be paid out of, which was the district, right? And then, but also even Wally and Deo recommended that you still classified, which is what we've always done, per budget, per department. So everybody still has their budget, but it's all being consolidated to be paid out through here. And consolidated meaning like, for example, WEX, it was consolidated to one bill, but it's broken down per department, so it hits that particular budget line item.
Right. So they're not paying their own bills, but they still have their allocated budgets for certain line items.
Yes, but they cannot go spend that if they could, like it has to go through purchasing, or we did create accounts like, if you would, like for office supplies, where they're all being bought or through the district, but through one account. So everything's through one account in the name of the district. It's just when it's ordered by that individual department, then Mariana takes it and breaks it down to that individual department so that we can still see how much each department spent yearly.
Chief, my concern, I have no issue with the gentleman presenting tonight from Chase. I like this program. I think it sounds good and I think it's very helpful. But my concern, and I don't know if Commissioner Butler feels the same, is if there isn't a policy for the volunteers to follow, or if they don't know what is expected of them, regardless of what we bring in, I think there's going to be a lot of confusion and problems. And then I wanted to also clarify the policy, because that's why I wanted to make sure, are they getting one card? Because it seems to me like there's two different accounts going on. And I think that type of stuff needs to be addressed to make sure that we all understand how the finances are working. What is the purpose of this card that we're talking of, again, that we're speaking of here, again, which I have no issue with. I think we should move forward and learn more about this program. I like what they're offering, but I want to make sure that we're good on our end, especially with regards to presenting this to the volunteers or having the volunteers use this. That's my only concern.
So
and
Commissioner,
card.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mari.
So I can send you the statement that I just reconciled a few weeks ago. You'll see that statement is basically all the credit cards that are out here in the office and out with the volunteer chiefs and their assistant chiefs. And for example, Socorro has 3 credit cards out. And you'll see all those transactions for those individuals who went and did purchases, and they're all under one statement. But it is several credit cards per department.
Commissioner, let me rephrase that. They don't have 3 credit cards. There's 3 chiefs with the same credit card that we've always had. There is no 3 different credit cards. It's
but I mean, like, the transaction is going to show up separately by membership.
So what one of the things that we made when we changed this is that you all approved for the chief to have a $1,000 credit line, and then for the assistant chiefs to have a $500 credit line. So that'll total $2,000 per department. That's the only thing they have. So it's not only, because not always will the chief be able to be there to be able to purchase food for the firefighters when there's a fire or any little things like we've had. But right now, I think it's been working out. It's only been, I think, maybe a handful of questions that I've had, but everything else has been streamlined through everything through the accounts of the district. So it hasn't been any hiccups. But with this way, when we switch over to a card like this, it allows us to put a policy into place to say, you can't do this, right? And it will decline it. And we can have the controls. Now, let me rephrase that. Right now, the cards that we currently have can be used anywhere. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kerry. It could be used anywhere for anything. And there is we have no way to stop it. But with these other cards, we'd collect all those other cards, issue these out, and we can set, like you said, parameters to say, we only want you to spend on these items, but you're not allowed to go eat at a sports bar. You know what I mean? So we can detail what we wanted to do, and we can also turn off the the credit card as soon as that person is not authorized to use it. Versus this other one, it's a full-blown credit card. And on this one, I'm not sure if we have the protection that we would have on the other one in case there's some type of fraud.
I think that I would prefer to have a discussion on what we would want those parameters to be before we implement a program and have the intention of that setting the parameters, if that makes sense.
Commissioners,
Did I
this
freeze?
was just a presentation for them to, and for any questions that you all might have, and then for them to get ready for answers when we start going, if we decide to go on in this route.
And then my final question was, and you might have covered it in the beginning, and I was just trying to get my bearings, but is there a fee related to this program, and how does that compare to fees we're currently paying for our credit card now?
I'll answer that, Nate. Yeah, there is no fee for this program. It is a payoff each month program. So you can choose kind of your cycle. If it's a 30-day bill period, payable the 25th day thereafter. That's kind of the standard setup, quite honestly. There are some clients that want to bill every 2 weeks, every week, and then pay off like next business day. But the standard is kind of 30-day bill cycle, kind of like your current program is, with a payment due 25 days thereafter. And so there are no fees for the cards. Nate, you're going to need to correct me on this. There is a fee if in very few circumstances, or if there are any foreign exchange transactions, which I don't know if you would have. Anyone would need to use it to make any purchases in a foreign currency. But if there are no fees for the cards themselves, no fees for the program itself, or for the reporting platform. There is, I think somebody had mentioned, I believe, some about fraud protection coverage, and there is some fraud protection coverage for unauthorized use of the card. I think it's up to 100,000 per employee, so or a card holder. There will be more, disclosure on the contract whenever we get to that point to detail that for you. But yes, there is fraud protection, but there is no fee for really the program. Like I said, unless you have those unusual foreign exchange, foreign transaction purchases. But to go back to kind of the control that the chief was talking about a little bit, the ink card that you're currently on, he's right. There's no way to limit it by merchant codes as to where it can be used. In fact, the only limit you have is by kind of the card limit that is set. This program does allow you to designate it by merchant code, and again, that's not necessarily by, the brand, Home Depot or Chili's or whatever it may be. It's going to be more, bars, restaurants, grocery stores. You set it that way. But you can set it by a per charge, per transaction, per day limit, or like I say, a total credit limit or a monthly spend limit. So a lot more ability to customize your card based on what your policy will end up being and what your auditors would prefer you to have.
Okay. I lied, Chief. I have one more question. Do you envision that Mariana would be the program administrator for a program like this?
For the most part, yes. Like I said, there has to be multiples because there's going to be times where the departments are going to be out of town and they're going to need, if they're blocked and Mariana doesn't answer at 24/7. So there'll have to be more than just one.
Oh, I understood it that there would be like one primary program administrator.
No, there could be multiple. That's what they said.
Yes. There's usually one that we work with to set up the program, but they can designate other program. There can be multiple program administrators.
So, Chief, also too, can we next time we meet on this, can we see a list of who has cards right now? And I'd like to have a discussion about that too, just to make sure as we move forward, if the point of this is to consolidate and watch our funding and make sure that that the taxpayers' money is not being used irresponsibly, I'd like to see who has access to those cards too, and then have that discussion as well. And then also, Chief, I'd like to see who you're envisioning helping Mariana with this to make sure that that person is fully aware of what he or she is expected to do as well. So that's something maybe for the next meeting, Chief, we can set that up as we continue to have these conversations.
Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank you, and we'd be more than happy to answer any other questions if they come up, and look forward to hopefully moving forward with y'all on this.
All right, you all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks for the information.
Item number 6 was for informational purposes only. Item number 4, discuss and approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on October 20th, 2020.
Move to approve.
I have Ms. Butler with a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Well, is this consent agenda or just number
No,
4?
yes, consent agenda. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just want to let you all know, board, for the item 5B, the approve for payments of the monthly bills. There was no monthly bills since we consolidated all the credit card through the district. There's no more reimbursement happening. So next month, what I want to do is add an agenda item to actually get your approval to transfer the funds that the fire departments currently have in their operating account into the district. And then I won't have to reconcile the operating as well. You do see the reconciliation for each fire department in there, but there is no reimbursement.
Consent agenda. It was a motion by Commissioner Butler, second by Commissioner Santana. Commissioner Diaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Butler,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana.
Aye.
And Commissioner Barnes.
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos.
Aye.
Motion carries. Regular agenda. Discuss and take action presentation from Chase. We've already done that. Item number 7, discuss report by Chief Esparza. Commissioners, would you like to skip to number 7 so we can let Elva return back to her dispatcher duties since she's, I think, assisting dispatch? Go ahead, Elva.
Hi, hello, good evening, Commissioners.
Hello.
So for the month of October, I did go ahead and add the COVID calls as you asked me to. Clint responded to 80 calls. Fabens responded to 162 calls. Montana Vista to 117. San Elizario to 180. Socorro to 299 and West Valley to 167. So I went ahead and placed the chart for the COVID calls. As I mentioned in the previous meeting, the red flags we're looking for to advise Life or Elite and the fire department that it's in reference to a possible PCP, which is a possible confirmed coronavirus patient, is cough, shortness of breath, or fever. Anytime we see any of these 3, we do let FD know that it's in reference to a possible PCP. So for Clint, there were 7 confirmed cases. For Fabens, 21. Montana Vista, 15. San Elizario, 30. Socorro with the highest of 76. And West Valley with 22. For the fire marshal inspections, there were a total of 29. and permits paid for and issued 25. I also went ahead and added the Fire Marshal COVID enforcement. For Clint, there were 3, Fabens 4, Montana Vista 7, San Elizario 2, Socorro 10, and West Valley 2. With the no response not available, there were 20 no responses from Clint, 23 from Fabens, 0 from Montana Vista, 12 from San Elizario, 16 from Socorro, and 1 from West Valley, totaling to 72. Not available, 0 for Clint, 2 for Fabens, 0 for Montana Vista, 3 for San Elizario, 12 for Socorro, and 0 for West Valley, totaling to 17 not available. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you for adding all of those details into the report. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
No other questions, commissioners?
No, sir.
I have questions for you, Chief.
Okay.
So with regards to Fabens and Clint having, and I understand that those volunteer departments are getting hit with COVID themselves. Have we looked to maybe asking the Tiguas for help to help relieve those departments while their volunteers are getting tested or recovering from the COVID? I know that it's hit that department pretty hard. I know that Fabens is suffering from manpower right now, because even if they don't have COVID, they do have to wait that 2-week period or wait for the test to come back. So what is being done to help alleviate some of that for people who are in Fabens and who may not have due to some of their sicknesses themselves? Have we reached out to the Tiguas, or have we looked for other avenues to help out with Clint and Fabens?
Commissioner, all calls are being handled from all different departments. None of those calls are going unattended. It's not only tribal. If one of the only thing when you hear that a call was not unanswered is you're wanting to know how many calls that department didn't go to, but somebody went to that call. So whether it was tribal, whether it was Socorro, Clint, Socorro, somebody else went on that call. Horizon, and the same for them. If Horizon, there's calls that we attended for them because they were unavailable. So the call's being taken care of.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure there was that help for them, because I know, again, I sound like a broken record. I know that the volunteers in Fabens got hit pretty hard with the corona, and quite a few of them are out because of that. So just wanted to ask. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate the information.
You're welcome. Item number 8 was for informational purposes only. Thank you, Elva.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elva.
Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Elva.
You're welcome.
Back to item number 7, discussion report on Chief Esparza. Commissioner, I put a couple of bullet points. There was just too many things going on for me to try to put it all together in addition to what we're trying to handle. So I put bullet points and I'll go over them just so you all are aware. And it's recorded in case you ever want to go back and hear it. So bullet number 1, fire marshals are working on the COVID-19 task force with the county. As you all heard, the county judge did create a county-wide task force that's encompassed of sheriff's department, constables, streets departments, ESD number 2, fire marshal's office. And we had been out there trying to enforce the rules of the governor. For a while there, we looked at the rules that the judge put out there as well. So we are now back to enforcing the governor's orders, because one of the stipulations that the governor brought up to the judge's attention is that he felt like El Paso County was not doing any enforcement in regards to COVID-19, and that's why we were in the situation that we were. So he created a COVID task force, and we are out there trying to enforce the rules so that we can show that El Paso's trying to do the right thing and try to keep everybody in check. However, it's still a little gray areas in some points, but all the fire marshals, to include myself, are out there working on the weekends to try to mitigate the COVID-19 situation that we have in our hands. Any questions on number 1? Item number 2, the district continues to be a partner with the county to provide testing sites. I don't know if any of you follow our Facebook page. We were doing rotation throughout the county for us to provide a facility for COVID testing. Well, it turns out that they pulled them all of a sudden, so we kind of had a talk with them, the county and ourselves, to see what else we can do to keep bringing this to the county. They offered us 2 facilities, one on the west side and one on the east side. So right now, the station at West Valley is a full-time Monday through Friday testing center, and so is the district office Monday through Friday testing center, 9 to 4. 9 to 4 is what they're giving us. This is going to be in place till December 31st as of right now, unless it continues to get hectic. They said they would approve more time, but as of right now, it will be like this till December 31st.
Chief,
Yes.
a question here. So can you give us an idea of how these testing sites impact the stations and the headquarters office? So it's a state testing site from what I understand.
Mhm.
How many employees are there? Are they separated from the staff?
Yes, they
You
don't.
know, what is there, are they causing any disruptions, or how is it working?
No, all we're providing is a facility. They don't actually come in contact with us. As a matter of fact, the new company brought in their own portable offices. They're stationed in the back, their own restrooms. The only one that here, we allow them to use the restroom in the shop. But other than that, we really don't get involved with them. They do their thing. We just open the door, and then when they leave, they pick up all their trash, and that's it. All we're
What about
providing
it?
is a facility.
What about at West Valley, since that's a
Yes.
smaller facility?
No, West Valley is actually the same size as this one. So they are nowhere near the fire station. They're encompassed in the very back. They're using the helicopter pad area to turn everybody around. So they're able to encompass about 75 cars in the facility at a time. They're also doing 3 lanes to try to get as many people tested as possible, but they're also away from everybody else. None of our staff is able to come in contact with them. The only people that have any interaction with us, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So they're not even getting out of the cars then?
No.
Okay.
And what about the traffic? So how many cars are you guys seeing there every day at the testing sites?
Well, like yesterday was the first day of this testing site on a regular day that we've had since we started this March, April to help out with the community. We were seeing about 100, 200 cars lined up on Socorro Road. But since now it's Monday through Friday, the first day we saw about 100 cars, and now we're seeing a trickle of cars. So today I was told they did about 200 tests, and it was 1 or 2 cars every several minutes. So it's really not as bad as it was at the beginning, because at the beginning everybody wanted to get tested since the cycle was rotating via stations. I'm pretty sure you saw it. We were even doing Montana Vista. So now, since they're only offering 2 locations to us, one here and one over there, and they're both running Monday through Friday, we're seeing that the trickle effect is going to be lower. So it's a good thing.
Okay. Thank
Any
you.
other questions, Commissioner Barnes?
No, good. The thing is, risk analysis keeps it at low risk, so.
Item number 3, we have had 2 employees test positive for COVID-19. They've since recovered, no issues. They're back at work. Number 4, I have continued to look for a vendor that can provide a rapid test at a reasonable price. We haven't found one yet that's reasonable. Now, I just found out the city of El Paso just got the rapid testing for themselves, but that's not being offered to us. So I'm still pursuing other avenues. Commissioner Butler, did you ever give me any info on them?
No, I mean, testing is a mess. And there's not a lot of options out there right now, other than the city and the state testing sites. The private labs have some barriers. They're expensive, and I don't know that they would be a good fit for the ESD. So sorry, no solutions there yet. I think there will be more options in the coming months for something like this, but right now I don't see a lot of them.
So just to touch base on that one, I did continue to pursue it. The vendors of the test did call. I do have to get the district certified as a testing center, which I'm going through the state because we are a licensed medical provider. So there is a exemption for us there. So as soon as I get that exemption, then they'll talk to me. They can't talk to me until such time we have it. I know the city of El Paso just got it, so it took them a little while. So I'll try, and if we can, we'll try it, and then I'll bring it up to you all to see what you all think. Okay.
Are you talking about a CLIA license to run lab tests?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've already left a message because we are a medical provider, so there is a way for us to get an exemption. So they'd call me back. See what the obstacles are. But like I said, the El Paso Fire Department just got it, so I don't think it's going to be an issue for us.
Who are you talking to, Chief?
I call the Department of Health and Human Services. I've been jumped around by so many offices. I left messages, so see which one calls me. They don't have an actual answering person that will answer. Everybody's working from home. So as soon as I get in touch with somebody, I've left several messages. So hopefully somebody will call.
But you said that you've been talking to a test provider. Who is that?
That's Abbott testing. We were looking at the same test that the Fabens School District's using, which is the exact same one the El Paso Fire Department is using.
But they're being run through the city lab.
Yes.
Have we talked to the city about running tests through their lab? Because apparently they have capacity.
Not yet, not until we figure out if we even can get this, because if I can't even get them the tests, then why even try?
But what I'm saying is we might not need to go through any of the CLIA or any of that. If we say we're getting tests, we just need them to be run through the city.
Right, but we can't even purchase the test unless we have that CLIA certification.
So the schools are getting CLIA licenses? All of them?
There's exemptions. I've already asked all that, and they said they all got it. So.
Okay, thank you.
ESD number 2 will also be helping to provide the flu vaccine to the citizens of El Paso County. So I was approached by one of the chiefs at the El Paso Fire Department that's in charge of the flu vaccines. And we had a little discussion here about how we can bring it out to the county. So we're looking at he's trying to do three flu sites, one in Montana Vista. It was one here at the district office, but since we have the COVID running Monday through Friday, it's going to be harder here. So we're trying to figure out another one. We're going to use Socorro for now to see how that goes, see if people will show up. They're going to make it available to it. They're going to provide us all the manpower, all the people and the vaccines and all the equipment necessary to make all this happen. It's going to be El Paso Fire Department employees from what I was told. And in turn, we're going to help them with our light towers to keep it going if it gets dark. I don't think that's a bad deal for the citizens of the county. And we're going to try to do that. The first one that we're going to have is in Socorro, and it's the Saturday right after Thanksgiving. That's what they're targeting right now. All right, so we'll put the word out on our social medias, and then if you all know anybody, spread the word. That's where it's going to be. Any questions on that one, commissioners? No?
None.
Okay. Demolition of the Las Colonias station has been completed. We are waiting for the first set of plans so we can review and then send them to our person that's going to review them, see what they look like. Everything looks like it's on schedule, so we're looking good. Any questions on the demolition of the Las Colonias station? Item number 7, I have had talks with some of the chiefs in regard to the new purchasing protocols, as I stated earlier. I think the majority of the questions is not whether they can or cannot get any of the equipment, because obviously we will continue to support the departments and buying the necessary equipment. What the only questions that they're having is, like I had one chief that sent a request for all his firefighters to get boots at the same time. Even here at the district, we don't all get boots at the same time, or uniform boots. It says on a need case-by-case basis. I'm going to leave that up to you all for next agenda. If you want me to do that, just go and buy carte blanche, everybody new shoes, and kind of spend the allocated money like that, or it should be as needed. Okay. Everything else is in motion. All the chiefs are in agreement as to with the uniforms, the way we've been doing it. We're actually also looking at a little bit better way to streamline their requests. Talking to purchasing, talking to Mario and maintenance. So I think it's been working out. We're keeping up with everything that we are supposed to. It's just we did have meetings with all of them, Mariana, everybody else, via Teams to show them what we were looking from them, expecting from them, and what they could expect from us. So right now, I think it's all been going pretty good. Like I said, the only thing is that some chiefs still believe that they should just be able to go buy everybody their uniforms and be done with it.
Should we not be updating this like on the financial policies, Chief? And, giving them an actual, guidance of, because I know I've gotten some emails where they're asking me whether they can purchase their TCFP trainings with their credit card. And I'm having to say, yeah, because,
And this is some of the things that we're still running into as to how we're going to pay for all these. And I had this talk with you the other day as to how we're going to pay for all their volunteer renewals through SFFMA. I've been in talks with SFFMA as how they're going to bill us. We can still keep it the same way, except they're going to bill us for everything that they've encompassed. So I am putting a list together of what we're going to change so that we can run it via by Dale, make sure that he's okay with it when they do the audits, and then bring it up to the board so that you all can approve the changes that we're all going to make. Any questions on that one, commissioners? Item number 8, we have ordered the new fleet. We're waiting for its arrival. The first couple of units should be arriving here soon. They will be delivered here to the district office. We still haven't put out the request for you all to approve that all the lighting packages that are going on there. I didn't want to order any of those until we knew exactly when the vehicles were going to get here. So make sure that all our vehicles were, so we knew what year they were going to be. Because sometimes they'll say, well, we have a 2020 here, and this is what you can get for this price. So now we're going to know that they're all going to be 2021. So as soon as I get the confirmation of the first batch of vehicles, when they will be arriving, we will put the agenda item so that we can approve all the light bars, the lighting packages. I didn't want to order them and then try to figure out where to put it. Okay. Item number 9, I have met with Texas Gas. I'm happy to announce that finally, after all this time, they are ready to give us gas for the Socorro Fire Station. Part of this is going to be a task that we did not budget for, because they had told us that it was nowhere near in the area. But luckily, one of our previous volunteers out of Fabens is in charge of that project. And he saw that I was requesting gas, and he called me up, and well, somehow or another, it's happening. We will have gas in that facility mid-December. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to get the gas powered to the appliances, because they're only going to put it to a certain location, and then we got to take it from there. Nonetheless, I'm happy to say that we finally got gas there after all this time, and we should be getting it by mid-December. Item number 10, we have also applied for water for Las Colonias stations. Like I said, that station has been there since the 90s, early 90s, and had never had running water. And in addition to that, we also found out that there is water over there by Paso View at our Montana Vista station. We also applied for water there. So in the next couple of weeks, we should have water at the 2 locations to be able to support these 2 fire stations. Now, the Las Colonias station does not have any services like restrooms. It was never built like that. It was never, they never thought they would needed a bathroom back there. Now they realize they needed a bathroom. So we're going to get water there at the very minimum, and then we'll figure out how to get them a bathroom in there, because that's a little bit more complicated than just to say a septic tank and a building to go in there to that additional. But at least we can get water and have a way to wash the trucks there. Also for Las Colonias, we'll have running water finally. Any questions, commissioners? All right. Item number 7, for informational purposes only. Item number 9, discuss and take action on amending fiscal year 2019-2020 by Mariana Navarrete. Go ahead, buddy.
Hi, Commissioners. Me again. Just asking for approval for the final budget amendments for fiscal year 1920. I did it in wording. It's one of the documents on the Dropbox, and I also did it in the Excel format like we usually do. This will basically help me already close the year and also provide our trial balance to the auditor. I did let her know that we were having our meeting today, get that approved, and I would be sending her that on Friday. So I just need your approval for the final budget amendments.
Move to approve.
Second.
And just a
motion.
little, go ahead, sorry.
I have a motion by Commissioner Butler, and the second was who?
Barnes?
Yes. Second.
Second by Commissioner Barnes. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. You had something else to say, Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you all the status on the audit. I've been working with Monica from SBNG. We've already done several sample selection testing, and we've been sending that to one of their files that's connected to via web. So basically, I've pretty much sent everything already that she's requested. We're only missing the trial balance. And then she's going to send me another, probably more information request after that.
Commissioners, a touch base on that. Wally, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
I did receive a phone call from Teo Cabrera from SBNG, and he said he was going to reach out to you in regards to the audit, if the county was right with okay with a single year audit versus the way they were always doing it comparison year, because that would save the district a lot of money, and typically it's not something you all request. Did he reach out to you?
So I received an email from him today, and I'm glad you brought it up because I had it on my list. I was hoping that would come up for discussion. So whether or not he presents the financial audit in a comparative report or a single year report really is at the preference of the board. You know, if I were speaking for myself, the value in seeing the comparative reports is you can see how FY20 compared to FY19. Where did you finish on your reserves? Where did you finish on your cash, your liabilities, and your expenses? So the only, and I really think it's really a board and an administrative team decision as opposed to mine. I like seeing comparative, but that's me personally, because it's an easy snapshot on one page of paper. He did not detail to me how much he did say it would create efficiencies and be more of a cost saving, but he didn't present like with a comparative it would be X amount and without a comparative it would be Y. So I don't know how much of a difference that is, but I really think it's an ESD admin decision. For comparative purposes, we could easily pull up the 2019 audit and lay the 2020 audit next to it so you could see what the differences are. So it's not a difficult accommodation, but I really think it's more of an admin decision and a board decision.
I say we leave it the same, commissioners, right now, because there's not an agenda item, and then we'll go from there. I'll talk to you at the next board meeting to see what your preference is going to be, if you want a comparison or you want to, and then I'll also talk to him and see what the savings are, because he did say it's going to be quite a bit of savings if he only does one versus the comparison. So we can have that discussion at next month's meeting.
I think that's appropriate.
Thank you. Item number 10, discuss and take action on the 8th annual holiday dinner. And Mariana, go ahead.
It's me again. Well, basically, due to COVID, we're not going to actually physically have any sort of dinner. But what I wanted to do is do a raffle giveaway to kind of give our staff and our board members a thank you for this difficult year. And the only thing I'm asking is for the same amount of budget that was last year, which was not to exceed the $4,500. And this would include everyone, and it would be like a raffle, kind of do it like a team view meeting for everyone. Go ahead.
Well, everyone.
Mariana,
Sorry,
I'm in
go ahead.
favor of that. I think that everybody has been doing a great job at the district. All the employees, I think to keep the rapport up,
Yes.
I think it's a good recommendation what you came up with. That's good. I support that.
This was
Thank
just,
you, Mariana.
yeah, it was, I talked to Chief about it because we were like, we can't have a Christmas party this year. We would love to get together and see everyone, but due to the circumstances, I still want to do a little morale lift in terms of our guys are out there every day, day in and day out, exposing themselves and their families. So I think that we should still keep the same concept of at least doing a raffle for everyone via TeamView.
Mariana, was that budget inclusive of the meal or was it just for the raffle?
Including the meal. So what I did last year, I would budget 30 per person for food plus your +1, and then whatever was left over would be used for raffle.
But you want to use all of it for raffle this year?
No. Yes,
Okay.
this year, yes. Yes, this year we want to use it for raffling.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I was going to recommend maybe in lieu of a dinner, sending a gift card to a local restaurant or
That's kind of the
a
plans that
basket or something.
We
to
want them to
staff.
stay at home, Commissioner.
You can order out from local restaurants and still support small businesses.
And that is an idea we said as well. We can give a gift card for a restaurant, so they can, have a family dinner at home. So we're still planning out there, but it's not to exceed the 4,500.
Commissioners, on item number 10, discuss and take action on the 8th annual holiday dinner. Do I have a motion to approve not to exceed the $4,500 that was budgeted?
Motion to approve.
Yeah, second.
And Commissioner Barnes, you had something to say?
No. I think they answered it with the reallocation of the money for the meals to the gifts. It's been a tough year for everybody. It's a great opportunity to say thank you to them.
I have a motion by Commissioner Santana, a second by Commissioner Barnes. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 11, discussion and action on ratifying the previous approved purchase of the Kaiser Force machine for the Fabens Fire Department in the amount of $3,136.28. Commissioners, Eduardo, after reviewing all the quote, it was approved by DACO. DACO was the lowest, but then it turns out that he wanted to charge us way more than the actual manufacturer of it, Kaiser Sled, to ship it to us. So he ended up switching it to Kaiser. So the total amount with shipping was $3,136.28. And I know that was discussed that we still had to figure out how much the shipping was because it was not on there. So that was the total amount for that Kaiser Sled. We just want to ratify it to make sure that it was you all are aware of that. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Barnes, second by Commissioner Santana. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 12, discussion and action on the hiring process submitted by Vice President Mike Diaz. Commissioner, go ahead. You're on mute.
Okay. Sorry about that. Good evening, everybody. Chief, I'm just trying to get educated here on what's the process the district takes in hiring all employees, what do you guys usually do?
Commissioner, we had a couple of meetings a couple of months ago. I think you were part of that. So I tasked that to my assistant chief and to the lieutenant. So what happens is they put out the posting, let's say for firemen, right? And they get the reviews. They get all like I just lost my train of thought. The resumes, and they review them all. They have the interviews. They hold the interviews. Then they come back and they talk to me of, you know, the top 3 people, why they selected that person, and then I let them do their hiring. Same thing for Mario. We haven't had that yet with purchasing, so we don't know. And then Mariana, she holds her own, and that's it. That's pretty much it. You're still on mute.
Okay, I guess my question would be, is it feasible to, when you guys hire the firemen, you guys have a board, a panel? What do you guys do?
Yes, it's actually the assistant chief and the 2 lieutenants doing the interviews.
Okay, so 3 heads. So everybody's following the same process, correct?
And on the fire side, yes.
No, the whole district.
No, Mariana is the only one that does not, how can I say it?
So basically with my department, I usually have Brenda post the posting, and she does it through Craigslist. And then she has me on for my email to receive all the resumes. And then usually what she does is we both review the resumes, and she's calling and confirming, checking the resume of, okay, you're saying you know QuickBooks, how long have you been doing it? Okay, I see that you haven't been in this position for only a year, but you've been moving around. She's asking those, she's basically screening the resume. And then after that, I'll let her know, okay, these are the choices, and then she schedules.
That must be the fire station.
Does someone have, sorry. And so usually, and then when we do the interviews, Brenda and someone else is present. Now, I had interviews about 2 weeks ago. She was not present because of the COVID. And then I only had about 8 interviews, I believe, a month from last week to this week.
Okay, so
sorry,
Mariana, wouldn't it be a lot easier to have somebody like from like the other side, like maybe, because I know that Jen was sitting on the panel with the firemen. So, I mean, since we have all the people there, wouldn't it be best if we just commingled with one another? I mean, are you doing the same thing, Chief, with Mario? Is Mario doing the same thing?
Yes, Mario, also the posting goes out. It also gets reviewed by HR consultants. Same thing for the firemen. They also get reviewed by HR. Mario holds the reviews, but then he comes to he comes to my office and has a talk. It's only happened 2 times already, but he tells me who his top pick is, who his second pick, and why, and then I just let him do his thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually do have a panel, Commissioner, but because of the COVID, I was just like, the only thing that Brenda M and Brenda C, because they're both Brendas, they've been on every panel before this situation. And usually they're just listening in and making sure that at the end of the interview, they're letting them know, if you get offered the position, it's contingent on passing a background test. And then we sit down and discuss it amongst, okay, this one's better, or what our choices are for each person.
How much, to what extent are we using Tommy and his people, I mean, his employees, to help us out?
I've only used them twice because I've only had this new position I'm trying to fill.
Uh-huh.
And Lorraine and then my current assistant, so 3 times.
Are we talking in the last year or in the last? In the last year, I think we've used them 4 times over reviewing. When Jen got sick, when now I have a couple of firemen that got out sick. What are we gonna do? Pretty much it. But other than that, it's been very minimal.
Okay. I guess my question is would it be easier instead of using Tommy for you guys to start working together and just kind of put everything to your minds together and having your own panel in-house? Would that be a lot easier? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking.
I think the consultant part is a integral part of this because they weed out the people that jump up and down. But if you're asking if we should put, like I can assign the assistant chief to be part of that, and maybe one of the lieutenants or maybe one of the other supervisors, and kind of do that, then I can do that if that's what you're asking.
Mariana, your thoughts on that?
Is there an issue that I'm missing? Is something wrong with the hiring process?
There is nothing wrong. I'm just asking what the hiring process is and just trying to make sure that we get the right person in there. That's the only thing.
Have we been hiring people that you feel aren't the right people?
No, not really. I mean, I'm just asking, Ms. Butler.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand if there's an issue that we should be addressing, but it doesn't sound like there.
No, there's no issue. I mean, if there was an issue, I'd bring it right out, but I'm just trying to see what our hiring process is.
I mean, if it makes you feel any more better, Commissioner, Mariana can show me her top picks in the same way that I do it for, I mean, like I said, the only one that has never done it has been Eduardo, because he's been here going on 2 years, so he's never done it. But if, you know.
Yeah, I think we want to be careful that we don't have a cook try to hire a mechanic. You know, we want those expertise beyond the voices heard, because you know, I want to know how to hire what Mariana does, or what, you know, I wouldn't even know how to hire that person, you know, if they can spell or not.
But when do you guys have panels on your side, Mr. Barnes?
Yeah, it depends who we're hiring. If it's a specified position, I usually leave it to the subject matter experts. And if it's a police officer, I'll grab some police officers. But if it's an HR person, you don't want a bunch of people like me trying to hire an HR person. I mean, I don't. Speaking on your part, don't get me wrong, Mike. I mean, if there's something there, like Jackie's Commissioner Butler said, if there's something else there we're not seeing, maybe there's
what you doing, sir? It was just a question, just a process.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, no problem.
I mean, since Mike brought it up, I've always wondered, like, if Tommy's worth the bang for the buck. So, I mean, that's my question. I like Tommy. He's a nice guy, but I wonder sometimes if we're getting our best money out of it. But I wonder that about everything. So, you know, I that's a question that I have for every single item that comes up. So it's not necessarily just against Tommy. But that is something that I've always wondered, considering how much we use them or when we use them, are we getting the best bang for our money there? And then with regards to the hiring process, I do agree with Commissioner Barnes. I wouldn't want to hire a firefighter because I've never been a firefighter and I'm not trained to be one. But I do think that there should be panels in all hiring, and that it shouldn't just be one person with one other. I think for sake of it being, you know, I just think it's better to have 3 hands on deck than one. And obviously those 3 people should be familiar with the position that's being looked at. They should be fluent in what's going to be discussed there and know what's going to be asked of that person. But I don't think there should be one-on-one hires. I'm very wary of that. I think that there should be at least 3 people there, so there's a discussion, and also just to avoid any accusations of hiring friends or anything like that. Not that that's going on, but I do think it's safer we have panels. And then again, as I said earlier, just because I question all fiscal stuff, that has crossed my mind a couple of times with Tommy. No offense towards him, but are we getting the best money that we're getting for that? So that's my 2 cents on this topic that was brought up.
Chief, you said you have a panel of 3?
Yes, well, for the firefighters, it's 3. It's the assistant chief and 2 lieutenants. And for Mario right now, this is the second time he hires, because the first guy only lasted a couple of days, a month, maybe 2 months, right, Mariana? I can't remember.
Yeah, he's here for like 2 months.
So it really, but like I said, he reviews it. I do get the copies of the resumes. I look at them also, and he comes and tells me, because he did interview the guys with Brenda also, and then he comes and tells me that he had a meeting with me as to why he's selecting so and so. Pretty much that's it. I'm the one that.
No, Mariana. So you can do a panel? Do you have enough personnel so you can do a panel also for hiring?
You know what? I did think about bringing Araceli into the interview, but I didn't want to, I don't know. I just didn't do it. But usually we've had a panel every time I've had, which has only been 2 prior. But I did actually show the resumes to, well, not show, I sent them to Brenda, and she does the review. And she did question 1, because she's like, well, this one doesn't seem like to have a lot of experience. She only had more of a budget financial, like she created budgets, but she didn't have, and she does question it. She questioned me. She even told me, hey, well, this one doesn't have a lot of accounts payable, but I see there's only budget. She only did financial budgeting for her department. But we usually do have a panel.
Chief, to Commissioner Avalos's question, I know that the fee that Tommy Cano charges is minimal. So from my perspective, the bang for our buck, I think it's minimal. We're paying him very little. But I don't know how much he does at the district level. So is there a way for us to review, how much interaction the district has with Tommy and his team, and then we can evaluate whether it's worthwhile to continue that relationship? I personally have felt for a while now that the district is getting big enough to justify an HR person on staff, which would be a significant expense, significantly more expensive than Tommy. But, start with an evaluation of their services now to the district to see whether that should be enhanced or not.
I think with the bank, like you said, the bank for a buck, yes, we are playing very minimal. I think the only drawback that I have with Mr. Cano is not the fact that he's not here or full-time, is that when it's gotten to the point that we need him to step in, the term "I'm a consultant" comes in, and that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody that can say, yes, you're right, or Chief, you're wrong, or so-and-so is wrong, So those are the things that I do see that have happened, and I think those are the ones we should address. But as far as right now for bang for a buck, I think it's more than enough, because not only that, he also on the side, he's also handling the departments on a different level through their own organizations. But we can be kept on the loop a little bit as to what's really happening, because I think there's 2 departments that have already used him for wrongful things that have happened in their departments. So could we do it a little bit better and have him assist a little bit more? Sure, and not get into a point to get another like you said, another employee that's going to be significantly more, sure, but that's the talk we need to have with him and see what's there, you know, because right now during COVID, everything's been very minimal. The interaction has been minimal. I mean, I've talked to him more because he's calling me for his other clients, you know, because we're enforcing the governor's orders, we're enforcing so I've talked to him more, but it's not really for our department, if it would.
Mariana.
I got Mariana raising her hand, and then Mr. Alvarez.
But no, I agree with the fact that it's always, I'm just a consultant, you know, because we've gotten into issues and problems, and it always comes back to, well, I just gave you it was just a recommendation. And we don't need a recommendation. We need yes or no answers. We need our employee handbooks updated. We need them to be distributed to our staff and let them know this is what your new employee handbook is. And yet to now, I mean, there's things that are changing and employees are asking for it. So who do they go to? You know, and if he's just consulting us, that's creating a little bit of a, you know, miscommunication, and I don't think that's the way the district wants to, you know, not educate the employees and say, this is what your employee handbook is. It's not just that, it's other issues as well.
I'm going to use that as an example. The employee handbook that we currently have for everybody that's outdated and has a lot of issues with it got reviewed by Ken. And he had it reviewed by a labor law attorney, and she dissected that thing and said, this is wrong, this is wrong. And these were recommendations that even Tommy is like, well, why is it wrong? I was like, because you can't do that. She's changed a lot of the wording. So we are working on one, but I kind of stopped on it when all this really got crazy here, because she was emailing me back and forth. So at this point, I had other pressing issues with setting up COVID and doing all the enforcement. So, but it is there. It is being reviewed. There's a lot of changes already that were made to it. But again, we don't need just a consultant. We need somebody to say, yes, this is right, because right now, and you know, for an attorney to say this was all wrong is just not right. And of course, maybe attorneys will always going to say things are wrong, but she brought up some good points as to why not. She read some of the articles that were there, and she says, why are you still doing this? This is, and it's case law already. So I'm going to follow her guidance through Ken, change it, and then bring it up to you all for your review with the changes to it and present it to you here pretty quick. I'm still trying to change all the notes that she changed on it, but I think those are one of the things. But I think we're getting a little bit off topic on number 12.
Yeah, we are.
So the only thing I do want to say is that, so if both of you are the heads of the ESD, feel that this is an issue, I'm glad that Mr. Diaz brought this up. I don't know if he intended it for it to go here, but then it needs to be addressed. Then I don't think we can continue this way. If both of you are saying that this is something that needs to be addressed, we definitely need to get to this. So I think that's something that maybe we can go forward with next meeting. I know we can't do much this meeting, but definitely I think we can't ignore this anymore. That would be my opinion there.
I agree. It should be a priority, and you know, maybe something we need to bring Tommy Cano into so that he's aware that we're having this discussion.
Thank you, guys. I mean, that's been something that's worrisome that could happen to us at the district level, especially where Mariana's at, where all of our employees, you know, Chief, I mean, Mario, we don't want to get sued. And like they said just a little while ago, we don't need a consultant. We need somebody, we need direction. They need direction. So thank you, guys.
It's okay to have like I said, a consulting firm, but I just don't like the fact that when it gets tough, hey, I'm just a consultant. You know what I mean? That's the only part that I'm going to say. It's not a good thing. Other than that, Commissioner Diaz.
Informational purposes.
So what about the decision that you know, we can ask Mariana to have a panel next time they do the hiring or for interviewing.
I think if you wanted to have a panel here, it shouldn't be any of Mariana's staff, because it's equals. If I were to say a panel for here, I would say it would have to be either my assistant chief, Mario or Eddie, to sit in just to listen to what they're saying, just to see if, hey, I concur with you, Mariana, or I don't concur with you, as a feedback. And of course, you can still say, hey, this is why I want to have this. This is why I'm choosing this one, and go from there. Like I said, I really, even for Chief Salcedo, Mario, that's already happened with Eddie, but they just come and tell me why they're selecting this person. I'm gonna hold their feet to the fire if something goes wrong. So I'm letting them do their choosing, but they do come and talk to me as to why they're choosing that one.
So just for transparency issues, like I said, we have had a panel before. This was the one time I haven't. And the person that I offered the position to has 25 years of experience in accounts payable, in financing, in budgeting, in Peachtree system. She was at this company for 25 years. So, I mean, I had good candidates. I can send you all the resumes to review it yourself. And good personality, outgoing. She seemed like she's ready to work for a company for long term. So that was my best choice. But she's been at the previous company for 25 years.
I think that if you want to put into motion a hiring policy and process across the board to include panels and who those are made up of, I think that should be written out and be more intentional instead of just being an action item like this.
Okay. If you like, I can put something together, Commissioner, and then present it to you all, and then you all can decide whether you want to follow that, and we can add that to our policies.
That'll work.
So item number 12 for informational purposes only, and then when the time is ready, we'll present it. So I have a motion for, well, no motion needed for number 12. You all okay with that, or?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Item number 13, discuss and take action on approving fire department to attend Life EMS Academy, to take advanced EMT class totaling 4,600. Commissioners, Chief Cordero did send in this request. He filled out his form. It was approved for the go on the agenda because always training is very essential to all of them. He did request to Life EMS Academy for 2 members. We looked at other academies. I had Angie go through the process because it was over 2,000. So yeah, this was the cheapest one we found.
Chief, I have a question as far as on the members. How active are they? You know, I mean, I hate to approve it and then they turn around and they leave. You know what I mean? I know it's a chance. I know they're volunteers, but it's kind of like, you know, on the money side, it
is, Commissioner, but this is something that I think it's detrimental to all departments for them not to have people certified. And one of the things that I always see with the volunteers is when they're not allowed to advance to a higher level and maybe find a job that can keep them volunteering. Yeah, it's. I know one of the classes that we took over there at safety, they talked about how departments wait 60, 90 days. And by 60, 90 days, a lot of the volunteers lose interest. So this is, as a matter of fact, hold on, Chief Cordero. So I think it's a very important for us to allow it, and hopefully we can keep them as volunteers. It used to be the life expectancy of a volunteer was tops 2 years. Of course, there's the people that last 20 plus years, but it's not always going to be like that. But all we can do is try to guide them to provide us a service and continue to serve the community.
okay.
I think Wally has his hand raised.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. So, Chief, I'm pretty sure I've saved or I've sent you our travel policy. What we do at the county is we set a threshold for training dollars that are spent on employees, and we get an employee agreement. Although these are volunteers, I don't know why you couldn't consider something similar. And that is when we make a material investment in a training, we get a guarantee from the employee that says, in the event I choose to leave employment, and in this instance, leave the volunteer capacity, if I leave before a certain number of months, I agree to pay back a pro rata portion of the travel expenses being made. So something for consideration by the board.
Wally, in reference to your recommendation, we as the district wide don't have that, but each fire department does.
Okay.
For example, Montana Vista, they had a member who did not complete the training, and that individual had to pay us back for not completing, based on the contract that individual signed with the Montana Vista.
Right. So what we do is we get an agreement that they sign that says if you spend more than $2,500 on my training, and I'm just throwing out a number, that I assure you I'll stay for 24 months as an employee. And to the extent that I leave before 24 months, take the amount you expend on me, divide it by 24, and I'll pay you back that amount. Just food for thought.
Yeah, with a lot of the volunteers, and we had departments that are trying, and I would just have Chief Cordero text me that that's what he's doing. It gets complicated with a lot of the volunteers because some of the departments even went as far as making them pay when they successfully pass the class, then we reimburse everything. That runs into some of the volunteers that can't afford to pay for a $2,000 class, yet they want to try to help out the community because this will allow them to be able to start IVs, to be able to do higher practices that we currently can't do, but they're trying. So it's up to you if you all want to create a policy like that and go from there. I do see your point, Commissioner, that sometimes we lose the money if they go elsewhere. But in the meantime, if we've already got a couple of years off of them, I think they're more than served their community and they got something out of it. And that's what all we can hope for in a volunteer, that they get something out of it and then just don't waste their time here. I think that's what we should be pushing for.
Okay. All right, with that being said, I make a motion to approve it then.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Diaz, second by Commissioner Barnes. Commissioner
And I
Diaz?
do like Wally's thing on it because this is an investment to our.
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler? I think she froze. Oh, there you are. Your face froze like. So, Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 14, discuss and take action on allowing 10 additional days of PTO for the paid employees for COVID-19 leave under fiscal year 2020-2021 only. Commissioners, this year we've, like I said, a couple of our employees have tested positive for COVID-19. Even the firemen that have tested positive, they've been doing CPR on patients, yet our insurance that we submitted for denied them because they didn't feel that them responding to calls with COVID-19 patients is a hard enough hazard for them to get sick. That's leaving our employees high and dry out there to fend for themselves. Of course, I looked at it a lot of different ways so that we can make this happen. We couldn't find a way to make it happen unless we allow 10 additional days as a one-time. That's what most employers are doing out there. I know that for my son personally, they did it. He got his, as a matter of fact, he got 3 weeks, but CDC is saying 10 days, so that's what most of them are doing. And I think all our employees would feel okay with 10 days if they get it or they contracted while at work or even not at work. It's just a benefit toward them.
Hey, Roger, is this for those who have contracted COVID or is it for everyone because of COVID?
For everyone because of COVID. These,
We need a panel.
what's that?
I think we need a panel.
So there's another agenda item that I'll discuss on that. I've already talked to Wally. I've talked to Wally about this. So under our 2020, 2021 fiscal year, we did budget for all these hours for all these employees. So this is something we can allow this year as a one-time deal. I did run it by Ken. He said just to specify it under 2020, 2021 only for now. If we go into next year and we see that this is still going and the vaccine didn't work out or whatever, we still don't have it, we can review it again. But this is not something that you all are going to approve for forever. This is just right now because we have no way out. And right now I have employees that were out 10 days, or probably even more, without any pay, and we're letting them out to fend for themselves out there right now in this trying time.
That's because hey Rod, that's because they have COVID, right?
Yes.
So if I never contracted COVID and I
They don't get it.
They're not covered under the insurance?
They denied them. So I'm going to use an example. So even if let's say a firefighter X, his wife contracts COVID and he's made to quarantine like everybody else, you know, we don't know if he's the one that carried it there. We don't know if what the deal is, but that way we can give him a little bit, hey, we're trying, and just for this fiscal year.
Does the county have something like this for their employees
Yes.
that we know of? Or
Go ahead, Wally.
Good timing. I just raised my hand in that regard. So what the county did this year is it granted 5 personal days for all county employees that are for this fiscal year and fiscal year only. So it is a use it or lose it. And that is not just, it is because of the COVID pandemic. The situation is we've got additional needs out there for parents who have to assist their kids with school, for families who need to assist other family members that have potential COVID impacts, for additional costs they've incurred to allow their family members to telework. So the county did grant this year 5 additional personal days for one-time use only, and they will not accrue and carry over. So for example, if you don't use your personal days this year, they're gone. They will not carry over to next year. So we granted 5.
This item that I have on there is a little different. Is only for COVID-19 related. This is not you giving them 5 extra days of additional PTO to do as you.
Problem granting the 10 days. These guys are out there. These men and women, they're the ones taking the calls. And you're right. If their spouse should get sick too, and because of the quarantine situations, they have to stay home too. That affects their wallet. They may have taken it home. I agree with you completely on that. My one question is, and we're seeing it at the schools where we have students or employees get COVID 2 or 3 times, right? So are we going to cover this just one time or each time they test positive?
Right now it's one time. I've looked around for different employers. Everybody's only offering one time. And I think right now one time is what we should go with, unless you all decide to go more. But I think right now the standard that most employers have is one time.
No, I completely support this, Chief. I like it. I think it'll give some reprieve to our volunteers who are risking themselves. And I'm a little disappointed with our
Commissioner, Commissioner, this is only for the paid staff right now. There's another agenda item.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, then for the paid staff as well, and to be, I guess I'll say it right now. I'm a little disappointed with our insurance people, that they wouldn't step up when our people need them. So,
well, just so you all know, I did confirm with Ken on this, and Ken was in the position to say, I think you should let me fight it. But then again, I'm going to try to fight 10 days for 2 employees right now, but I'm going to lose more money paying Ken to fight it.
Well, you know when it comes time to renew, this is something that shouldn't be forgotten and should be discussed when it comes time to renew. And
we're about to renew, but nobody else wanted to pick us up right now. Just so you all know.
Well,
we didn't get some good news today.
Right now, with the way COVID is going, nobody else wanted to touch us. 'Cause we're the
Yeah.
fire
You know what?
department.
They can at least have to answer that in front of us and tell us why they
Well,
wouldn't do that
I-
during this time.
My assistant chief has already tried to make contact with him to see why the actual denial was. They wouldn't talk to him because there's coverages that are private. So, yeah.
No, no.
I mean, Commissioner Avalos, we didn't even, they have declined to provide us a quote. That was what the email was.
No,
They're
okay.
not
okay,
even
then-
giving us a quote because of our policy.
Wow.
And
okay.
because of the COVID.
So then, no, well, I think I'll put in to discuss this more formally in next meeting, but motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Avalos, second by either Commissioner Santana or Commissioner Barnes.
I have a question though. So the individuals that, like, we have someone currently out, okay? What about the individual that was out a few weeks ago? Or can I retro pay them the PTO? Or is this moving?
I motion to retro pay them. I don't know if we can do that, but I motion that they get those 10 days as well.
For the
Or they-
fiscal year?
Yeah, as long as it's in this fiscal year.
Yeah, it
Or-
happened.
Or like Mr. Avalos said, if there is a chance that they're recontracting it, they can wait till, see if it happens later. I mean, it's up to them, but it's only a one-time thing.
Okay.
Commissioner Santana, you second it?
No, it's Diaz.
Yes. I have a motion by Commissioner Avalos, second by Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 15, discuss and take action on a one-time stipend for volunteers in the amount of $800 for COVID-19 quarantine if approved by commissioners, county commissioners under CARES funding. Commissioners, one of the things that I did do, and I didn't just think of our paid staff, I seen it because the first thing that came to my mind is if our paid staff is getting denied, our volunteers are going to get denied. And I couldn't just bear to see that we are going to say, well, tough. This is not something we can do. This is wrong in so many different ways. They're an intricate part of this organization. So what I did is I submitted I sent an email to Wally and to, I forgot her name. Wally, help me out here.
Our county administrator, Miss Betsy Keller.
Yes, Betsy Keller. For some CARES funding in the amount of $160,000 that we normally carry 200 volunteers to be able to assist the community. So if approved, they would hopefully fund us $160,000 to make this happen also for our volunteers. I think Wally sent me, we had a little text going back and forth that it's being reviewed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wally. And
So you are correct, and that would be a not to exceed 160,000. So this would be if finally approved by legal. It's still being vetted right now. I reached out to legal this afternoon and have not received a response back. There's very little guidance from the Office of Inspector General and the federal government on the ability to use these funds for stipends of this nature. So we're vetting it out right now. I hope to have an answer by the end of the week. Ms. Keller did present that possibility to commissioners. They didn't discuss it, but they're actually they have been made aware of it, and that it would be an amount if approved and deemed to be eligible under the CARES Act fund, an amount not to exceed $160,000 for those volunteers who would be out that did contract COVID.
Well, thank you. This is something that I felt it was necessary for our volunteers. I want to make sure that they know that we are not forgetting them, because like I said, there's already been, like Commissioner Avalos said, Fabens was hit hard, Fernelli was hit, so it's going to continue to happen, and they're responding to these calls. They're trying everything they can. So in some of their employers, I'm sorry, they're telling them no. So I think it's wrong in every which way to make this happen. Now, in the event that it's denied, then I did, I did talk to several of the chiefs that did answer. And I said, look, if it gets denied or whatever the case may be, I might want to look at the budget and trim some things here and there to see if we can make it happen, see if the board approves it. And the people that I talked to agreed that, let's look at it afterwards. So if it gets to that point, but we'll wait to see what the Commissioner's Court says this week, hopefully.
Well, Chief,
So-
I just
Go ahead.
wanted to say good job for doing that, for coming up with that and thinking of our volunteers. And hopefully, we've been working closely with the county and all this and helping out the county judge with the testing sites. And hopefully the county will help us with this, especially since it's for a good thing. It's to help out not only our volunteers, but constituents of the county as well. So I know there's other, and I'm sorry, Commissioner Butler, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just think this is a good thing, Chief, and good job on pursuing this, and hopefully it pans out.
Chief, I agree. This is, it's worthwhile to pursue. CARES Act funding, there's a deadline on it, December 31st. If the county commissioners approve of this, would it be retroactive to any of the volunteers who have contracted COVID-19?
I think that would be all up to you all, like just you did for the paid employees, for up to beginning of this fiscal year, or I don't know, Wally, what do you think? Can it go back to when this all started?
So if our legal deems that it's an allowable expense, I don't believe anything precludes us from going back to the original award date that covers us from March forward. But I'll get that validated as well.
Commissioner,
Oh yeah. So do you have do you know how many volunteers have contracted COVID-19?
right now we do not, because a lot of people keep it under wraps, a lot of the chiefs. So we started a string. Now the chiefs are notifying me when it's happening, but we can go back and get their positive results because most everybody has them, and we can go from there.
So yeah, that'll be the biggest issue on the county side, that if it's deemed an allowable expense, we are going to have a solid audit trail to show which volunteer contracted it and what time they contracted it. Because when OIG comes in and does an audit a year from now or 2 years from now, we're going to have a solid audit trail to validate the expenditure.
And of course, like I sent my email to the county, this is 160,000 worst case scenario. If all 200 normal volunteers that we normally have contracted.
Between now and the end of this year?
If they don't get it, if the...
You could probably argue since the inception of the pandemic, when the allowable expenses were provided to be incurred through the December 30th.
Unless, correct me if I'm wrong, Wally, if I think you all were trying to get an extension, if allowed.
Well, the entire nation is hoping for an extension. The likelihood for that seems to be fading quite rapidly.
That's a congressional and presidential issue.
Exactly, with everything going on with the timing on the election, it doesn't seem likely. Now, that doesn't say that once a new administration comes in, that they could address the current funding and extend the deadline thereafter. I'm just not holding my breath to that. I'm hopeful, but I'm not holding my breath.
Right. So I would imagine, Wally, that the county would have to complete the legal review pretty quickly in order to make something like this happen, like within the next couple of weeks. Probably, right?
You're correct. I've asked legal to see if they can weigh in on it. Hopefully by Monday, if not, no later than the following Monday.
So we should know by at least within 2 weeks whether this is an option.
Yes,
Commissioners, just so you know, this agenda item's for you to approve it and for you also to give us the authorization to sign the contract with the county if it's available to happen.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Avalos, second by Commissioner Santana. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Butler,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes,
Aye.
and Commissioner Avalos.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 16, discuss and take action on approval to attend the Safety Conference 2021 conference in Dallas, Fort Worth. Commissioners, I don't know that this conference is actually going to happen. I did receive the email that they have not made a decision yet. However, they are posting their dates of when it's going to happen. It will be the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but they won't release hotels till late December. However, I do need your approval to see if we're going to, if it's available, if we're going to attend, or if they cancel it, will they cancel it? Just so we can reserve rooms and start planning to go if they're going to hold it. It's all going to be based. They have it on their website, and they, from the emails, it's up in the air, but they're still planning for it.
They're gonna do alternate form of the class, like either through Teams we know of or COVID
They've been
friendly.
holding some, but no, not yet. They've been holding some classes, but it will be nothing like what they hold over there. That's what we got on the last email, and I'm pretty sure you all got it too. Is they're still reviewing, but they'll make a decision late December or January. See if this is just a motion that if it's available, that we are going to go or not go.
I feel uncomfortable making that decision now, only because we don't know, even if they have it, what kind of safety protocols are going to be in place. Are they going to have refunds available? What are the options if they cancel? I mean, they haven't released any of those details. So how could we make an informed decision now about whether we would do that?
Commissioner, this is only to allow us, if it's going to happen, we are not reserving anything yet because we cannot do it anytime within this month. So when the time comes and they say, yes, we're going to, I'm pretty sure they'll release more, whether or not they're going to give refunds, and then we'll make a decision. This is just for you to authorize us that if it's going to happen and the ruling is good that they are going to give refunds, then we go ahead and do it, or we don't do it.
Can we make that decision when they release those details?
Well, it's if they release the hotels, and then the hotels we can reserve and we can always cancel. But if we don't have the approval, then we won't reserve rooms. Because we have to call the room. I think that's what they were doing this year. Pay for your membership, because we still have to pay for a membership, and then they'll give us the authorization to reserve the room. They're changing it up. A lot of venues are changing it up, so that way just people don't go reserve and not attend. But if you don't feel comfortable, that's I'm okay with that.
Well, if we can cancel, let's just approve it. No, we don't have to do a special meeting or something of that sort, just for that. So let's approve it now. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Santana, second by Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
No.
Commissioner Santana? Commissioner?
Aye.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
He said, yeah.
Was that a night, Commissioner?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
I mean, yeah, as we discussed, so we can cancel. We're not losing money. And like Commissioner Santana said, we don't have to have a special consensus for this agenda item.
Motion carries. Item number 17, discuss and take action on the contract with the county for CARES funding for overtime on the enforcement for the Fire Marshal's Office. Commissioners, that has already been approved by Commissioners Court for the funding that we projected for the Fire Marshals to be out there doing enforcement. This was already looked at. I did talk to Ken today in regards to the contract. He says he would like for you all to, if approved, to approve contingent on his approval.
Motion to approve.
Second on the contingent of his approval.
I have a motion by Commissioner Santana, second by Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Diaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Butler,
Aye.
Commissioner Santana,
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes,
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos,
Aye.
motion carries. Item number 18, discuss and take action on contract money for fiscal year 2020, 2021, first initial payment for West Valley Fire Department. Commissioners, as discussed in one of the previous meetings, you all had discussed the fact that we wouldn't pay the first amount till January. However,
Right.
this agenda item made it in there because a request was sent to Mariana, and Mariana told me that they were out of money. Is that correct, Mariana?
Yeah, they actually spent all their money with time, and they were the ones that he sent me the invoice about a few weeks ago, so I forwarded it to Chief to add to the agenda. But he has no funds available anymore.
Didn't they spent $80,000 like ASAP?
80? What
Yeah,
do you
on their
mean
Inc. account?
No. Didn't you tell him that they needed to spend the 25,000? I believe he's talking about that.
No, because this year, the commissioners allowed them to carry it over to next fiscal year because it was a short time. Nobody was gonna have Christmas, nobody was gonna do a lot of things. So they allowed it to carry it.
I'm assuming it's the 25,000, Chief, not the previous amount. Weren't they supposed to open a new account in regards to the contract to have those new funds going into that new account?
They were supposed to keep their accounts, but what they wanted to do is keep the original money separate that was already there. So I don't know if that's what they did, and they're saying they have no money on their new account, but.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. You would have to speak to him because I just forwarded the invoice to you to add to the agenda.
Commissioners, would you like for me to try to call him?
Did he sign up for comments?
No.
Well, I knew if Chief Atler knew this was going to be an agenda item, then, if he didn't sign up, then I would say we wait till the next meeting, because if you're saying there's $80,000 somewhere and that's Inc. money, then my question would be, why aren't they using that money? And if there was confusion about it, then I think we need to sort that out before we go back on our word. You remember there was a time where we were having that issue with the contract where they were talking about not providing services and back and forth. So what I don't want us to get into the habit of doing is, if we went through all that to set up policies, my fear is that we're just going to keep, okay, never mind. So then what was all that for? What was that whole time period?
Your original decision last, I think it was like 3 meetings ago already. And I'm kind of messed up on time right now. Is that the first payment goes out in January and the final payment goes out in October. They have till December to exhaust the money.
Correct.
Yeah, so then I say no, Chief. Especially if we got to follow what we put on paper. That's what it is. They knew beforehand. And if there's that much money somewhere else, then we don't need to allocate that other set of money until it was already agreed upon. That's my opinion on this.
So does anybody want to make a motion to delete this item?
Wouldn't it be to deny it?
I don't know about.
Well, you can't deny it. I think you'd have to resubmit it in January, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So
no, it's discuss and take action. Their action is going to be to deny. So you could deny it. So you want to make a motion to deny, Commissioner Butler?
No, I'm clarifying what the
Okay.
motion should be. If we're
Okay.
saying we're not going to approve his request, then we should say we're not approving his request.
So do I have a motion of any kind from any of you commissioners?
Do we
Motion
move
to
the
not
next meeting to
approve
allow him?
the request.
I'm sorry, there was 2 of you speaking.
Mr. Avalos.
Go ahead, Commissioner Barnes. Go ahead.
Is this something we need to push forward for him to speak on, or we just disapprove it?
I think we can postpone it if you'd like in 2 weeks, because I think next month, it's going to be kind of Christmas and all that. So I think our meeting should be, let me just give you a more or less of when we're going to be looking at this.
I think it would be December the 15th.
The 15th, or you want to have it the week before that? I don't know. I'm pretty sure none of you are going to have travel plans. But
Well,
8th? Are you talking the 8th, Chief?
on the 8th, I don't know.
I would just say, whatever date we push it to, one of the things that I'm going to ask you to do, Chief,
Okay.
and to work with Chief Adler, is to address that other money that's there. If there is other money, then my question would be, why aren't they dipping into that Inc. account? Why are they asking for the money in January already if they have such a large amount saved? That's on top of the fact that we set our parameters already of when money should be distributed. So I'm going to say motion to stop or to refuse the current agenda item, and then give him an opportunity to present to us in a few weeks with his explanation.
Second.
Third.
Okay, give me 1 minute. So the motion was to delete the item and re-put it again in a couple of weeks for him to explain?
Yes, so that Chief Adler
can
can be
delete
here.
it. We have to
give us
postpone
his
it, right?
explanation.
Can you just postpone it though? Just postpone it for the next meeting and that's it. And then we'll reach out to him and tell him he needs to explain to the board why he's not using those $84,000. I really don't know how much. Remember, we stopped taking care of that account because you all asked us to when they were going through the contract. So I don't know how much they have.
And also just, it might be good to get a legal review on whether we can even ask them to dip into their savings account for something that is in the contract.
Commissioner Avalos, would you like to change that or leave it as it is?
Just motion to postpone, Chief. I think that's what everybody agreed on, sir. So motion to postpone.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Avalos, second by Commissioner Santana. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
And Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 19, discussion of special recognition to all those who continue to support our community during this pandemic, submitted by Commissioner Mike Barnes.
And I think we all covered it throughout this meeting, and it is a special thanks, especially to our volunteers, our chiefs, those at the district carrying a heavy weight, their families. I think Wally hit it best, was saying, hey, the pandemic's not only hitting those. I know I'm speaking for everybody. So just want to say thank you to everyone out there, and just let them know we're still in their corner, even though we're on teams. You know, we're still in their corner, and we'd like to get out there and make some station visits while exercising social distancing. Maybe, you know, just to express our thanks to our guys out there, our men and women out there that are keeping our county safe every day.
I'll say
Maybe we
that,
should
Mr.
have
Barnes.
I think we should have a panel to say thank you or something.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. I'll second that.
I agree. I think anything that we can do to show our gratitude and support and let our staff and our volunteers know that we recognize their contributions to the community at this difficult time. I think we should try to do that.
I have a recommendation, just maybe something to consider, since we can't really, we have to be careful about how we talk to each other outside of here to not break any, need to say that we're in quorum. Maybe we could consider all of us pitching in and buying some pumpkin pies at Costco or something, and then delivering them the day before Thanksgiving to the different fire stations. We can each pick up a fire station, or we can pair up, and then we can go and just deliver them some some pastries or just a little thank you, because some of them are going to spend some Thanksgiving time there. So it's just an idea. It's a great thing that you put this on here, Commissioner Barnes. It's really cool of you to do that. But I don't know, just a thought, especially because it's really difficult for us to text in mass because of quorum rules. So that's just floating that idea.
And Commissioner, just so you know, there is funding through the section of the budget that allows for you all to do that here. If you all wanted to, we could make that happen here. It's just we can't exceed the amount, but it's something that, yes, we should be able to do for all our guys that are going to be working on Thanksgiving Day, and to be able to support our volunteers. Like I said, I took this to heart, knowing that coming from the volunteer side in something like this, if you left your family without being able to eat because you're volunteering here, and this is all, it takes it to a whole different level. That's why I sent that email requesting those funds, and hopefully they get approved. So, but this is just another little token from you all to them, so we can make this happen.
Sounds excellent.
Agree. After that hour brief on that credit card, I don't want to use that thing. I'll fund it myself.
Hey, we have a parameter for that.
And commissioners, on behalf of the county, let me offer our sincere thanks to you as the board for your leadership of this group, the chief also, and the administrative staff, but also the volunteers who are going above and beyond. That's why I asked for the call report, as I heard how many COVID calls are going out. I'm not on the front line delivering services, but I'm on the back end providing funding for this. And it is just, it's touching as we see the impacts on our community, on our personal families, and in our volunteers at large. From the county, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you, Wally.
Thanks, Wally.
Thank you very much.
Wally, I thought you got choked up almost there a minute.
If you knew the calls I was in on this week, you have good reason to be choked.
No, I can imagine. And thank everyone up there, Wally.
Yes, sir.
So I'll volunteer to work with the chief and Mariana to figure out the purchasing and the budgeting of what we can do, and then coordinate with the rest of the commissioners to see who wants to do some Thanksgiving Day deliveries, because I don't have plans on Thanksgiving Day. So
I can make deliveries, that's fine.
okay.
I can do it.
Likewise.
I have plenty of time. My wife can't cook, so I got plenty of time.
Mr. Barnes, you better quit while you're ahead.
Mr. Barnes, you're brutal.
Hey.
Brutal.
Hey, I know I look like she can cook. Don't get me wrong.
That's just Taco Bell, right?
All right. So
Hey, I'm out in the man cave.
All
Hey.
those jalapenos you eat.
Yeah. I'm in the man
Commissioners,
cave
item
where
number
it's safe.
19, discussion on special recognition to all those who continue to support our community during this pandemic. Do you want to take action on that, or informational purposes only?
No.
I think
I think
information, we're gonna take
Set up,
action.
something, right? Miss Butler, yourself, Mariana, and Chief.
We'll work on something and get that coordinated with the rest of you. I don't think we need action though. I think it's just a.
Yeah, information.
Okay, item number 19, informational purposes only. Item number 20, discuss and approve the next meeting to take place on
The 8th or the 15th?
Commissioners, I would say that let's try to shoot for 3 weeks from now if we could.
So
The
the
8th?
The
That
8th,
would be the 8th.
a special meeting on the 8th.
perfect.
Motion to approve.
Second,
I'm sorry.
third.
Or
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I have a motion by Commissioner Santana, second by Commissioner Diaz. Commissioner Diaz?
Aye.
Commissioner Butler?
Aye.
Commissioner Santana?
Aye.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
Commissioner Avalos?
Aye.
Motion carries. The meeting will take place on the 8th of December at 6 p.m. via web. Adjournment at 8:13 p.m. Thank you, Commissioners.
Good night to everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
God bless.
Night.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Happy